Okay, I want to discuss this Ahmaud Arbery case. Not really the law side of it, because there's still so much up in the air and there's still so much information I'm sure that is going to be coming out in the weeks ahead that I don't think it's not a smart move to start talking about the actual case from a law standpoint at this point of where we are with knowing what we know in the public. There's so much more that's going to come out later. So let's just talk about the aspect of actually what took place, and how I feel about that. So you have Ahmaud Arbery, from what we know so far, is running down the street. They say he goes jogging in this neighborhood, and from what the video shows us, he seems to be just, running at a jogging pace, running down the street. And then you have the McMichaels, who I guess saw him outside, and they strap up, hop in their truck, and chase him down. And I assume they were going to hold him gunpoint and call the police, I guess. This situation is uniquely American. This is just, it's bananas. This is just insane. When you see someone running down the street, jogging, or even just running at a sprinting pace, my first instinct is not to go grab my guns, hop up in my car, and chase them down, even if there has been burglaries in my neighborhood. This is what makes it uniquely American, is you don't see this type of behavior doesn't go on in other Western liberal democracies. One, because not everyone, has a goddamn gun and feels like they're, taking the law into their own hands, and this is some outlaw Western town, circa Tombstone, Arizona, and they're the sheriff and going to make sure that their town isn't being robbed. This is what you get a lot of times with people like the McMichaels, who have guns, and then they feel empowered because they have a gun, and they go out and try to take the law into their own hands when they have no evidence that this man is the one committing the robberies. Zero evidence. What did they think was going to happen when they chased him down in their truck and rolled up on him with guns drawn or guns at their hips? How do you think that's going to be? That's going to go in a great way. Like, this decision is going to work out, and this whole scenario is going to play out well, and we're going to be the good guys. Who thinks like that? It's obvious that if you're doing something like the McMichaels are doing here, this whole situation has the propensity and the likelihood to turn south like that. What did you think Ahmaud was going to do when you came up with him with guns drawn? Even if you asked him a question, he doesn't have to stop. And why would he stop? He doesn't know what you're going to do to him. So when the man's first instinct is to potentially fight for his life because he sees complete strangers driving up on him with guns drawn, are we shocked? And then are we shocked when the tussle turns into guns being fired and the man who doesn't have the gun being shot? This is just ludicrous. It's absolute, regardless of, again, I'm not discussing the law side of it. I'm just discussing actually what went down and the thought process of the McMichaels, the thought process of Ahmaud, and why on earth you would do this if you were the McMichaels. Why would you do what you did and think it's going to go well? And think potentially someone might lose their life because you assumed or thought that this person had committed robberies in your neighborhood, which even if he did, the penalty from the state is not death. Again, this is what happens when you have guys with guns. They take the law into their own hands. They act like vigilantes. They want to be the good guy with the gun who captures the burglar, and he goes the way to prison. But that's not how the world works. That's how Hollywood works. And that you see certain people, certain social media personalities and people discussing this, and they're saying, oh, Ahmaud was on the property of a construction site at night multiple times. So what? One, I saw the footage, and it has not yet been confirmed whether that is him or not him. Two, even if he was on the property of a construction site and he was trespassing, that deserves you getting in your car with your father, getting your guns, chasing him down, and holding him at gunpoint. That deserves potentially you shooting him dead. And let's go even a step further. Let's say he stole something from the construction site. That means that you get your guns and chase him down? It's so asinine. It's so backwards. But this is sadly the thought process of many people in America, in particularly, ones that have guns. They feel empowered. They feel like they're the strong one because they have the gun, and they want to go around and keep their neighborhood safe and ward off the burglars. And this is why we outsource lethal force and force, and the government has a monopoly on force, because this is what happens if they don't. You have lawlessness, and you have Igaruk trying to take the law into their own hands, and someone ends up dead. You can't have a civil society and a prosperous society unless the use of force is monopolized by the state. That's it. This isn't the Wild West. You can't go around on a whim because you think someone may have committed a robbery at some point in time and chase them down with your gun. And even if he was in the act of committing a robbery, unless it's like your home, if he's at a construction site and he's stealing something, who's gonna go get their gun and chase him down? Like, why are you doing this? So you can see why people then think that there's some sort of race motivation at play here. You can see why that is. I mean, is there? I don't know. I don't like jumping to conclusions of any kind. I don't like, trying to definitively put labels and call people certain things that I know that I'm not sure whether they are or aren't. But you can see why some would think that there is some sort of race motivation at play here. It is pretty so peculiar how the McMichaels were not arrested until this was, a big public story, and it was all over social media, and, there was a public outcry about it. So those two instances are definitely interesting, to say the least, and I'm sure they'll be looked at further, and we'll see where the chips fall. But just from the standpoint of what took place, it's not how decent human beings act. It's not how rational human beings act. And we'll see what comes of it.